When you get serious about gardening, at some point you start looking into composting. Perhaps you've been convinced that it's too difficult or too much hard work. You've got a lot of people out there that use the traditional methods, compost bays, tumblers, that sort of thing. A lot of people believe that you need to keep your compost aerated, so you have to keep turning it. I use a no-turn system. I've been using it for quite some time. They're cheap to build, easy to make, and allow you easy access to the finished compost. G'day, I'm Gary. Before I show you how I make these bins, I'll show you the end results. I set this pile up about 6 months ago. It's dropped down halfway. Originally it was all the way to the top. As it sunk, I added more material. This is a combination of chicken manure, yard waste, and leaves that I raked up around the yard. So I added more material to the top as it started to drop, then I stopped adding the material. I consider it finished. There's a lot of bigger stuff on the top that hasn't broken down. If I look inside, this hasn't broken down because it's been exposed to the air. But when I dig into it, all the material below has broken down and it has a really nice earthy smell. I've got some green fruit beetle larvae in here. I've got other insects that are going to continue breaking it down. Earthworms, plenty of those. And as I dig down, it's a nice, rich, black material, and it's ready to go. The cardboard deteriorated a bit, but it's done its job. I'll use that in my next compost pile. To open it up, to get to the compost, all I have to do is find the seam where I joined it. I use smaller tags on this one, so I just have to take the pliers, bend the tags back over. This has dropped about 4 or 5 inches into the wood chips, so I dug around to expose the bottom of the wire. That's just going to make it easier to pull it apart. It's just a matter of popping it open. Once I've got the ring like that, I can lift it off. Move that out of the way. Now I just have to remove the cardboard. To remove the cardboard, I'm just going to find a seam. Just peel it back. Now I've got something that resembles a cake. All this larger, heavier material that hasn't broken down, that was exposed to the air. Where I had it covered all the way around, it's broken down nicely. In our climate, it's hard to keep a compost pile wet because we have low humidity, and that's why I put the cardboard around the outside. The coarse material, I'll just drop that into the one behind me. I'll clear most of this out of the way. So this is what no-turn compost looks like. I know a lot of people have their opinion about turning compost and making sure that there's a lot of oxygen flow to it, but the way I'm doing it, I'm happy with this. If you're getting good results doing it the way you're doing it, continue. But if you want to try something different, this is worth a try. It really has worked for me. Some of this material I might sift out and use it in my potting mixes. To make the baskets, I buy rolls of 3 foot by 50 foot fencing wire. They cost around $45 here. I cut the wire to 10 foot lengths, so each compost bin cost me around $9. Because it's 14 gauge wire, it's strong enough to support itself. I leave a little tab on the end of one side, cut it flush on the other, and to put it together, I loop the tab across the second row in, and then I just fold it over. I put it together like that, then I add the cardboard. So with the cardboard, I'm using cardboard boxes. I simply find the end where it's joined and I separate it off. So just tear it apart and turn it inside out. When I turn it inside out, I roll the ends up. Once it's rolled, I set it on the inside. I open it up. By rolling it, the cardboard's going to conform better with the basket. So I'll get this together and I'll show you the next step. So we get all sorts of cardboard boxes showing up in home deliveries. I try to get the largest ones that I can find. So to start the bottom one off, because I'm going to have to stack it, I line one side up a little bit further back from the clips so that I can undo the clips easily. This will be the start about here, so this is 2 rungs over. To pin the cardboard in place, I use 16 gauge rebar tie wire. It costs around $10. I cut it into 3 to 4 inch lengths and then I bend it into a staple. The top of the staple is around 1 inch wide. To attach the cardboard to the wire fencing, I use an awl to punch holes. I make them about 1 inch apart. Just make sure you don't have your hand on the other side of it. You could use a nail or a screwdriver, that would work just as well. Then I just push the staple through from the outside and I fold it over on the inside. I don't need gloves to do this. The wire is very flexible. I'd like to put the cut end of the wire on the inside so that when I walk past, I'm not going to brush across it and get snagged. Don't have to put a lot of loops in. It's just to hold the cardboard until it fills with the composting material that I'm going to fill it with. So I just push the cardboard out so it forms the shape of my cage. I only need to put clips on the top of the cardboard, so that's held in place. For the second one, I'm not going to need the whole box. I'm going to need about half of it. So if I just tear it in half, I can use the other piece for the top. So this one can sit in there like that. I want to make sure it laps over there pretty good. So that's the bottom done. Now I want to bring this up to the top. I started with the bottom so that when the top one goes in, anything I put in will fall straight down. And that's it. I've got a simple basket. At this stage I could move it wherever I want. It's one piece. What I prefer to do is sit this on a flat level surface on top of the wood chips, and I want to make sure that I've got room to move around. When it comes to filling the bins, I put everything and anything in. I like to go for broadleaf plants, whether they're weeds or whether they're vegetables. They have a lot of biomass. So starting at the beginning, I put in greens, then I add leaves or wood chips. Then I keep building the layer up until I get to the top. I add one layer at a time, and the layers are about 4 inches deep. So I work my way up. I don't mix it, I just layer it. There are a lot of different ways you can compost. If there was a right way and a wrong way, there'd only be one way. This is the easiest way for me. It takes the least amount of work to assemble and disassemble and to fill. They're portable. Right here, I've got them near my macadamia trees. I've got them all over the yard. They're either close to where I'm collecting the material or close to where my garden is. I want to make something that's portable. If you wanted to do the 3-bay system, all you have to do is make 3 of these, pull them apart, move the material from one bay to the other, and you're done. If you asked me when the best time to start composting, I would have said 6 months ago. The second best time is right now. As I'm going through the gardening season, I compost as I go. I've got finished compost that I can use. I can redo the bins and start a fresh batch. I hope this video has been helpful to someone. If you like the video, please give it a thumbs up. If you'd like to leave a comment, feel free to leave a comment. Let other people know how you compost. With that, thanks for watching, and don't forget to eat what you grow. Goodbye.